passenger signs is in op. I can't tell people to put their seatbelts on. I'm sorry, you cannot do that. And I can't even chime the cabin. Guys, this is basic. This should have come. I spent $180 on this. And I can't even tell my passengers to sit down. This is not gonna go well. And hello everyone, how's it going? Henry here, and welcome back. Long time no talk. Today we are in Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. Finally, it's out, ladies and gents. Sorry for the long time. I've signed an NDA for being an alpha and beta tester, so I couldn't talk about Flight Sim, hence why there hasn't been any videos. But since now it's out, we can all talk about it now, and we can all fly around and do stuff. But yeah, overall, the release of the sim has kind of gone well. There's been a lot of issues and hiccups. I personally switched over to the Steam version just because Steam's a little bit easier to keep all my stuff in one spot. But yeah, it's I'm not completely sold on Flight Sim 2020 thus far after having around 10 hours in the game. And unfortunately, it hasn't really changed from the alpha and beta states that we have had over the past few months. Just for today, for reference, I'm rocking a GTX 1060, an i7 processor, and about 32 gigs of RAM. So I'm rocking pretty much high graphics settings, or high end, as the game calls it. Overall, believe it or not, I'm only gonna give the sim in its current release state probably a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10 right now. Just because of a lot of certain big issues with the sim right now that shouldn't be issues at all. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But today we're going to be quickly going over the pros, my cons, and my final verdict of why I'm giving Flight Sim pretty much a 7 out of 10 right now for the release build. So let's get to it. Alright, as you can see, we are flying the good old DA40NG, pretty much one of my favorite planes of the sim. Let's get an external view here. And of course, the first thing you notice is the sim itself, absolutely beautiful graphics. There's Toronto that we just flew by. And one of the pros for this is definitely full VFR world navigation because of the great photogrammetry from Bing Maps. So again, unlike the auto-gen with some basic models, everything is literally, well, as long as you have a good internet connection, pretty much two-world satellite imageries in 3D models. So pretty much like 3D in Google Earth and all that. Pretty much most of these buildings, if not all of them, are real. I kind of have an okay internet connection, 50 megabytes a second. Because how it works is that you don't download the whole world, you stream it basically from Microsoft Azure. So you need a good internet connection if you want the full world to be seen. But overall, like a Canadian internet connection where I pay for 50 megabytes a second and I generally get 30 megabytes a second and maybe 20 in my basement. It's actually all right. Some buildings, of course, aren't looking the best, which is very unfortunate because you think that with Toronto they would have spent a little bit of extra detail considering it's like the largest city in Canada, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But definitely the graphics are really, really great, especially the shaders on the aircraft themselves. Again, going outside, just showing off the DA40 itself, it looks fantastic. The clouds and weather are fantastic. Overall, it looks beautiful. The lighting is very nice. Overall, again, graphics are great. Those are not the issue here. They are very, very good. Honestly, it feels great to be able to fly by the X downtown Toronto. You can actually see the actual soccer stadium. You can see all the real buildings. They all look like, well, besides some weird distortion. And again, this is one of the issues. It kind of goes in the cons as well, is that the photogrammetry is great as long as you have really good internet connection. But with that being said, let's go on to the next point, and for this we're going to have to exit out and go to the main menu, so stay tuned. Let's go do that now. Alright, so a really special little Easter egg for all you veteran flight simmers out there. If you go into general settings under sound, and under music selection, I like how it says color 1 still, because yeah, they haven't changed that. Good job, guys. If you switch to this, Legacy, it plays the original Microsoft Flight Sim X menu music, which is a nice little callback there. They're trying to play to our hearts there. And of course you got this other kind of epic sound, but we'll keep it going on color 1 apparently. That's the name of the song. JK. Alright, another pro for Flight Sim 2020 is definitely the aerodynamics. Let's have a quick look here. So, if you ever watched some of my Flight Sim videos or seen real flying videos, you may or may not know what a spin is, or spiral dive, or incipient spin, etc. Basically, it's a more advanced aerodynamic maneuver, and we can actually do that in Flight Sim now, which is absolutely fantastic. So again, here we are at Collingwood. If you've watched my videos before, this might look a little bit of deja vu right now. But the nice thing about this suite of aerodynamics for Flight Sim 2020 is that you can do spins now. So in case if you've never seen one before, let's do one. Yeah, I know I'm not at safe altitude, but we're just gonna do it for fun here. So let's get the aircraft stalled. But the important bit is that we're gonna have one wing slightly lower, so we have one wing that is stalled while another one isn't. And if you pull back on the stick as so, you're gonna have a wing drop like this, and then we get into a spin. Alright, to get out of it, basically all you have to do is centralize control, right rudder, ease out of the dive. And holy jeez, my frame rate is dying because of course Azure is loading in information right now and I don't want it to. But yeah, so the aerodynamics is a lot more advanced than the good old Flight Sim, so that's another pro in the books. I think they've done a really good job. The only issue is that some of the aircraft still don't feel correct, such as some aircraft are underpowered, overpowered, etc. But again, they're gonna fix those things with updates to come, so it's not a too large of a deal for me at this time, but the aerodynamics really do get a pro point from me. Another huge pro is the flight planning tools. I mean, with Flight Sim, it was kind of basic, but being a flight dispatcher myself, I've done a few flight plans in my days. Nope, not advanced. I never really got certified because of you know what in the world right now. But the cool thing is that the IFR flight planning tools in this are actually fairly good. I don't know if it updates daily with the different like Atlantic tracks, things like that. But let's just select the Dreamliner for a second and go back to the world map. Let us depart from Toronto. Set its departure, sure. Oh, nope, not. Holy shoot. Alright, for this demo, let's depart from Toronto Pearson. We never really used 3-3, right? Let's say 2-4. Where is 2-4? That took way too long to find. Alright, so 2-4 right, and let's go to... Where's somewhere long? Let's go to Heathrow. Alright, so basically, look at that. It's awesome to visualize that now. So yeah, it's going to take around 6 hours, and etc. The cool thing, though, is this tab here. Normally, Flight Sims, you say, oh, let's do direct. No, we can actually do low and high altitude airways using all of the correct waypoints. Well, some of them anyways, but generally this is where the Atlantic tracks generally are. They change every day depending on the weather, but you actually get more realistic flight plans out of this, which is absolutely fantastic. It's really cool to see this. I mean, like it's really cool. I know a lot of people might not care about this because it's just like, oh, I just play for fun, but for the more hardcore flight simmers, this is a really cool tool. And of course you have different routes as well, so if you want to go more northernly, I bet there's going to be plugins that you can play around with ETOPS and stuff, which is going to be really funny to see that play out. But no, it's really cool. I think this is a really good pro. Kudos to Microsoft for paying attention to this little bit of detail right here. Good job, guys. All right, another pro I want to talk about is definitely the accessibility options here. So let's go into assistance here, and again, everyone has a different skill level. Again, I have everything on realistic, but again, if people are new to flight sims, they can get assisted pretty much everything at this point, which is a really nice feature, especially if you're new to flight sims. If this is something that you want to try out, or if you have a kid that wants to play around flying. Overall, it's a really cool thing that they've done here. And of course, you do have colorblind assist, everything else. So they've done a generally good job with the assistive accessibility options too. So good job, guys. And my last pro I want to talk about is the live world traffic and the live world weather. So again, we have the weather already from previous generations, but it's cool that you have live traffic right now. So you have good internet, you can have live traffic and or AI like good old other flight sims. All right, I have it live. You can also play with live players who also have everything live as well, or you can just say all players, so they can have their own preset weather, etc., things like that. So that's pretty cool too. That's a nice pro as well. All right, now let's talk about some of the cons and issues I've had with Flight Sim 2020. So again, being involved in the alpha and beta, I got to see certain things change and not change. So one of the big issues I have with the sim coming out, especially with the current price point, is this right here, profile hangar. And note that I paid for the advanced ultra premium version. If we look at aircraft here, we do have some cool planes. So again, we have an Airbus, we have a few Boeing aircraft, we have a Carbon Cub, Cirrus SR-22. Love the diamonds. You get 10 billion points right here for all that. Your Icon A5, if you watched my Microsoft Flight 2012 video, you know that. But there are some issues here, and that is lack of helicopters, lack of gliders, no float planes, even if like the Cubs can be outfitted with floats, same with Cessnas. We don't have any skis either, no military aircraft. And the most surprising thing is that there's no liveries as well. Like for the full release of the game, there are no other liveries. So just looking at my 40, that's it. That is, I paid premium deluxe and I get white. That is all I get right now. Let's try something else. It's not just with the diamonds either. Let's choose Boeing. Remember Flight Sim X, how it had all those cool different liveries, different airlines? Nope. You get Boeing. that's your one default skin right now. So I really do have big issues with that. I mean, guys, I know it takes time, especially the digital artists, but you could have marketed this to airlines and say, hey, it's free advertising for your airline. Another thing that is lacking in here is missions, proper missions. They have landing challenges and bush trips, which are like little mini flight plans. But, I mean, there's no missions, there's no voice acting, there's no nothing. I mean, like, we got full suites and expansions and stories in Flight Sim X. We don't have a single real mission. And I feel sad. I mean, hopefully they are coming with those later on in some free DLC, but that's lacking as well. Now, a cool pro and con is the marketplace. I mean, it's already up and running. And you do have some famous airports, so like Innisbrook, things like that. But with that being said, with the Flight Sim saying that it's tooting full BFR world, we shouldn't have to buy individual airports. So basically throughout the alpha and beta process, we had alpha and beta testers look at all the different world airports. Pretty much we were all assigned different airports, and we said, oh, this is wrong, or this is a weird structure that isn't rendered properly. And it makes sense that they are charging to have individual airports sold, but I feel like this should be part of the base game. I mean, like, you just saw Toronto and how kind of like messy it is, how it still looks even with a decent internet connection. I have an issue buying a single airport for $30 when I spend over $160 on the Flight Sim. I mean, like, it just seems off for that, so I don't really like this. Hence why most people probably rate it 1 or 5 stars, hence why it's sitting at 4 stars right now. Another thing that is kind of a con in this case is definitely the multiplayer support. And what I mean about that is that we don't really have any server browsers anymore. Literally, it's just live players, all players are off. So I'm not really part of the Xbox ecosystem as much, but I'm assuming you can create different groups and things like that, hence why it says like friends. I have like a weird faded out icon, but I kind of miss the old days of actually looking at server browsers to find flights, and especially for community building as well. So like we could have had our own server or something, but unfortunately that seems to have gone the way of the dodo bird, unfortunately. Alright, another issue I have with the sim is unfortunately a lot of the cockpits, in the sense that a lot of them have issues in the sense that they aren't working properly. And today we're in the wonderful Dreamliner, and again, it looks beautiful, okay? Again, I'm not gonna hit it for that. It looks great. But I do have issues in the sense that basic systems just don't work. You don't even have the electrical diagram, hydraulic diagram, which is actually pretty simple for large aircraft these days. You have fuel, but door, everything else is just non-existent. I feel it shouldn't have been released in this state. But unfortunately, like that's not it. Like none of these, they're inop, not working. Those work. Those actually, passenger signs is inop. I can't tell people to put their seatbelts on. I'm sorry, you cannot do that, and I can't even chime the cabin. Guys, this is basic. This should have come. I spent $180 on this, and I can't even tell my passengers to sit down. This is not gonna go well. But yeah, a lot of aircraft, even like the 40, the small side windows, I can't even open those on the 40. Panels here, your little clipboard, quote unquote, doesn't work. None of that works. Again, at this point, I feel like they should have waited for December and just finished all these little things, you know, because sure, the sim looks great, but actual gameplay counts too. And this, no pop out panels, making things a little bit easier. I know I'm nitpicking here, but I shouldn't be nitpicking. But I am, because I paid a lot of money for this, but Microsoft said they wanted to take it seriously, but why are these basic functions not here? I mean, like, sure, they might not. I can't even use. We can't even use the IR system. We can't turn them off. This aircraft is incomplete, and it was released as a finished product. This, I don't find this this is just unacceptable to myself. And there's a lot of other aircraft that have these issues as well, where the systems aren't completed yet. So I'll say this more in the conclusion, but this is definitely a large issue. And actually, let's go back to the 40, because I want to complain about one more thing here. Let's switch over. All right, here we are in Collingwood in our good old DA40. As you know, this is a favorite location of mine, and you can kind of compare it to X-Plane, Flight Sim X, all those other ones. But what I want to show you is that, again, just like I said with the Dreamliner, is that the G1000 isn't complete either. I mean, sure, your main screen is kind of okay. They got most of the functions correct, but they don't have the engine page. I think it's one of these guys right here, which pretty much, it brings up all of your engine info with everything else you need, makes it full screen, and pretty much IRL, whenever I fly the 40, I have the engine screen full screen, because basically the engine is more important than your flight plan when you're taking off. I mean, I even gave feedback, and they know about this too, and they've known about this for months, and the alpha and beta, but it still hasn't been done. I don't think this is right. That's not cool. And again, you don't really have any of your good old fuses either. You can't play around with these. You can't play around with your windows, which, if you've seen my videos before, a lot of other third parties. There are freeware airplanes where you can actually play with the windows and doors and stuff, and like it looks like they're rendered separately, so it looks like it was something they wanted to do, but they didn't. Damn. That's a lost opportunity. That's what I feel like. At least the ground looks good, right? That's that paint. Oh, that paint is beautiful. Alright guys, let's cap this video off before I get too deep into things. Overall, Flight Sim 2020, it's a good start. Alright, overall, I am impressed with it. Unfortunately, I do have those little pet peeves, those little things that I have mentioned that do kind of ruin it, and it's unfortunate because the sim has a lot going for it still, but I really do think they should have delayed it till at least December. It doesn't feel finished. I mean, like, again, going back to our other lovely little pieces of information here, I'll show this off. This is a feedback snapshot. Alright, so pretty much what this is that throughout the alpha, this is what we were talking about. So top questions, top alpha issues, top wish list. A lot of these I've mentioned through here, and a lot of these are still issues. From the G1000 to the simulation of damaged things like gear, better terrain DFM issues, that's still an issue. We need a better damage model, campaign mode, mission, progression. And even here, this is old, this feedback snapshot. Gliders, helicopters. It's been on there. Third-party content, of course they're going to do that because of money. AI traffic, that's been kind of done. Peripherals, okay, so controllers, everything else, that's okay. Playable ATC. In-Flight Sim X, that's still not a thing. So that is very unfortunate. Seasons. Shared cockpit functionality would be great. VR is upcoming, we know that. But again, I feel it should not have been released in this state, and it's very unfortunate. Would I recommend this right now in its current state? Probably. If you're a hardcore Flight Sim fan, yes, but I would wait a few months to invest your money, see if it goes on sale for the holidays. I feel that's when it will get a little bit more tolerable with little bits and bobs. And again, like, kudos to the devs. They have done a lot of really great stuff. I know I'm kind of piling on them, but here's their development roadmap. Only shows till September, but again, we do know that they are going to be working, continuously updating things. They are working on VR. They're working on ATC. We do know that they aren't going to abandon the game. That's good to know, to hear from a big studio. What's that guy doing? But with that being said, again, I'm going to be generous and give it a 7 out of 10 with hope that things are going to be better. Because as one door closes, another one opens. Not just kidding. No, but seriously though, I do think that they are going to have a lot of good updates. I really want Microsoft to prove me right in this scenario. Get us some helicopters, gliders, military aircraft, float planes, ski planes, etc. And do it for free. Don't charge. Because again, you do have people in this ecosystem now. Don't be a nugget. You know? It is beautiful, but as a flight simmer, final statement, 7 out of 10. A lot of room for improvement. If I was a flight instructor, I'd pretty much say, let's do it one more time before you're ready for your flight exam. Yeah, let me know what you guys think of the flight sim so far. If you've been playing it, what are your thoughts? Have I been too hard? Have I not been hard enough? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you agree with any of my pros, or do you agree with any of my cons? What do you guys think? Also, if you want to see any aircraft, any missions with their own, or say missions, activities I should say, with their own video, definitely let me know below. Like, if you want me to go fly out the 20, show you how to fly it. That was the first plane I flew solo. But yeah, let's stick as a community. I honestly I see a positive future for this game. slash flight sim, whatever you want to call it. But again, here's hope. That's what this sim needs right now. Hey guys, how's it going? It is future editing, Henry, or for you, it's the past. Whatever. I forgot to mention one thing in the video before I end it, and that is the crazy blue bar bug slash crashing. So besides the crashing, the screenshot here, basically, what happens to a lot of people, and it happened to me, is that they get stuck on this screen, kind of like the loading screen right here. Let's make it kind of big. Oh my gosh. So many Microsoft products. There we go. So pretty much you get stuck at this bar when you're installing the game, when you first run it. And no matter how many times you uninstall the game or reinstall or whatever, a lot of people, including myself, can't get past this phase. I got past it through brute force. Like I literally kept installing and uninstalling, changing directory. But this has been a huge news story, how there still isn't a fix and it's been a few days. So, this should not have happened. This is a real issue. But yeah, go back. If you're having this issue, let me know and I'll show you what I did to fix it, so then I could make this video. But yeah, this is a real issue, the blue bar bug. Just Google it and you'll know what I mean. Back to the video, and thank you for watching this little detour. All right, everyone, as always, fly safe and happy landings. See you in the next video.